we're going to continue to talk about circles. I want to just recap vocabulary on circles. So remember, if we have the center of our circle and we have a length all the way across, this is called our diameter. If we have a length from our center that is halfway across, this is called a radius. And keep in mind that a radius is our diameter cut in half, because as well as our diameter is 2 of our radii. Today we're going to talk about circumference. And circumference is simply perimeter of a circle. When you watched the storybook, you saw that it talked about a round and a cross, and that gave us pi. And we talked about pi last week. Pi is the fraction 22/7, which approximates to 3.14, and it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Keep in mind that pi is a constant. The size of the circle does not matter. Okay? It will always be pi, no matter the circumference and the diameter. So we're going to continue to look at a couple of practice problems on this, so you can see kind of what is going on. Now, I will tell you that this formula right here, pi equals circumference over diameter, super duper important as we continue through. We need to understand that relationship between pi and circumference and diameter. We have two formulas for circumference. We have 2 times the radius times pi, or we know that 2 times the radius is the same as diameter, so we can also do diameter times pi. Both of those are the same because 2 times the radius is the same as the diameter. Last week we used pi equals 3.14, but this week I'm going to show you about 22/7, and we use 22/7 when the radius or the diameter is a multiple of 7. And we're going to go back and review that whole multiplying of fractions. So let's do a little example of this. So I'm going to put another circle here for us. And I'm going to tell you that we have a diameter of 15 feet. If we're going to look for the circumference, we're going to continue to write our formula always, and then we're going to plug in our numbers. Well, our diameter is 14, and 14 is in fact a multiple of 7. So instead of 3.14, I'm going to use 22/7. I'm going to put a 1 under this 14. When we talked about multiplying fractions a long, long time ago in the first semester, we talked about how you can either swap your denominators, or you can simply look diagonal to simplify. So if you wanted to swap your denominators, then we would have 14/7 times 22/1. And we know that we can simplify 14/7 to be 2/1 times 22/1. And then we would just do top times top, bottom times bottom. So our circumference is 44 feet. Now, if you don't want to swap, you can look at it diagonal. It looks the same. You can say 7 goes into 7 one time, 7 goes into 14 twice, and then you still have 2 times 22 and 1 times 1. So if you're comfortable with the slip swap, you can continue that, or you can do it this way. Another example is I'm going to give you a radius this time. And we'll say that the radius is 8 inches. So I have C equals 2 times the radius times pi is my formula. C equals 2, the radius is 8. Now 8 is not a multiple of 7. So now I'm going to end up using 3.14 for pi. I'm going to multiply 2 times 8 is 16. And then I need to do 3.14 times 16, 24, 8, 18. Don't forget your placeholder. 4, 1, and 3, 12, 10, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2. So our circumference is 50.24 inches. Now circumference, just like perimeter, is simply going to be the units. We're not going to have units squared or anything like that. The PDF that I've uploaded for you today looks like this, around and across. I would like you to try that in your journal, and I'll post the answer key for you. A couple of things. 22 over 7, if R or D is a multiple of 7. So I really want you to focus on that. Here they have, I'll do an example with you. They're giving you a word problem. It says the dinner plate is 9 inches wide, so that's going to be a diameter. How many inches of gold trim? Trim tells you this is circumference. So we have C equals diameter times pi. And then when you plug it in, 9 times 3.14. So keep in mind, the steps I'm wanting you to do, like always, is we're going to write that formula. We're going to plug in our numbers. We're going to solve it. And then you're going to hopefully box your answer with units. Don't forget your units, okay? I do want to look down here. I think you can probably handle 2, 3, and 4 as well. Make sure you finish number 1. Now, number 5 is a little different. It says if the circumference is 24 inches, what is the radius? So if we go ahead and we draw a picture, and we are looking for the radius now, radius in inches. It tells us the circumference is 24 inches. So we have our formula, E equals 2 times the radius times pi. And now I'm going to put 24 in place of C. 2 times the radius. We don't know what the radius is. 24 is not a multiple of 7, so we're going to use 3.14 for pi, and we're going to have to use our problem solving of equations to do this. So we know that we can do 2 times 3.14, 6.28. So now I have 24 is equal to 6.28 times the radius. Well, how do we undo multiplying? We have to divide. So I'm going to divide by both sides. So all of those equation rules that we learned, those are not going to go away. So then I can, I'm going to scroll down, I have a little bit of room here. 6.28 into 24. If I move my decimal on the outside, I have to move it on the inside. 628 goes into 2,400 about 3 times. So 24, carry the 2, that would be an 8 and 18. So we're going to have to borrow 10, 9. This is going to become a 13, and that's a 1. 500, 9 minus 8 is 1. And 6. And then I can bring down a 0 And I will tell you, we're going to try an 8. So 8 times 8 is 64, 16, and 6 is 22, 48, and 2 is 50. So that's pretty close. We're going to stop there. It would keep going, but we're going to stop there, and we're going to say the radius is about, because we don't have an exact answer, so we'll use a squiggle equals 3.8 inches. And that will be good enough. You can round to the nearest tenth. So be aware, all of those rules that we learned on solving equations, we can apply to our geometry here. On the back, I want you're going to have to find the perimeter or the circumference of these shapes. So now we have some rectangles and we have some squares. And then using that information, you need to answer these questions. So I'd like you to do that and check your work with the answer key that I post before you do the Google form on showing me you understand circumference. Have a great day.